Hi, my book friends. How are you? I'm doing good. Welcome to Readworthy. My name is Kendra, and I am here today to talk about the books that I read in September, my September wrap-up. There are 13 books that I read in September. I've found that some people like to talk about like certain little stats. I don't have very many stats, but in case you're curious, 4 of those were physically reading only, and 2 of those were ebooks, and then 7 were audio. So there's that for you, in case you're curious. I've read a total of 4,640 pages in the month of September. Don't know if that makes you happy in some way. Who knows? But there's some stats for you. So let's just go ahead and go down the list of all the books that I read and talk about what ones I liked. And I only disliked one this month, so I count that as a successful month. So the first book that I read is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, and this book I listened to. I don't actually own this book, but I really want to because I enjoyed the crap out of this book. I gave it 4 stars. It is a little bit like it's considered a fantasy book. It's about a woman who has 2 older sisters, and she is a princess, and her first older sister gets married off, and so that sister dies suspiciously, and then the second one gets married off to the same exact prince, and she confides to her sister that she's in a very abusive relationship, and that, you know, she got pregnant, she had a baby, and she's about to have she's pregnant again, and the only reason she's not as abused as she usually is because she's pregnant. So and apparently this prince guy is like awful, evil, like it's like getting worse and progressing. So, but they don't know what to do, because you're not supposed to start war with these people. So the sister is feels helpless, but is going on a quest to save her sister anyway. And that's pretty much all I can give you, because it's quite short. I can't give you much, but I really did enjoy it. There was some really, really quirky characters in this story. It's great. I enjoyed it immensely. It was good stuff. It was my second Kingfisher book, and just like the first one, this one is just as good, and I really do want to read as much as I can from this author. And then I told you in my TBR, I'm not giving an October TBR in case you didn't notice that in the video, so don't be looking for it. I didn't feel like setting myself up to read certain books. I'm just literally going to grab whatever I feel like. I think I am going to do a readathon at the end of the month though, but I did have a September TBR, and a couple of those books were created by my husband to tell me that you need to read these. So I was like, fine, I'll read some of your favorite books. And so one of the first books that I read of his is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And if you remember from my other video, I was talking about how this author pretty much we had a book club thing, and put our book club to an end.
Hey, so that's a pretty reasonable reaction, huh?
Because no one wanted to finish the book that we were reading from him. My husband picked out that book. It was his month to pick. And so I was really hesitant to pick up another one, because the way that story was told, it just was not my thing. I auto-booked this book, and I'm kind of glad I did, because when I was looking through it, I realized there are no quotations in this book. So when there's speaking involved, I don't think you would know. How would you know? That's weird. I just now noticed that. I auto-booked it, so it didn't bother me. I wasn't. It's very, very good. I enjoyed it immensely. So That's great. Good stuff, right? I gave it 4 stars. It is about a father and his son, and it's a horrible, horrible world. It pretty much, it's like an end of the world situation. And it is an end of the world situation because there's pretty much no humans alive. I really, really liked the ending, and I loved the relationship between the father and the son and them trying to survive what's left of this world that they live in. You know, just what they come across as they're trying, it's been a little while, I read this in the very beginning of the month, but they were trying to get more south so they would be in a warmer part of the world, and so it's just them traveling that way. And the thought process that the father has, trying to take care of his kid, but at the same time not trying to make everything so bleak that, what's the point of living? He doesn't want his son to feel that way, but at the same time he's feeling that way, right? So it's just like, it's very interesting thought process to read from. It's great. It's good stuff. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. So then I went ahead and read some One Piece. So I read volume 18 and volume 19, and I enjoy One Piece very, very much, and these books are no exception at all. Yep, I gave them both 5 stars, and I'm continuing to like this story. It's about found family and pirates, and you can't go wrong with any of that, and I'm still enjoying this immensely, and I have a ways to go because volume 100 just came out. So it's just like, I've got a lot to read. Okay, so the next one that I read is the only one that I didn't either give a 4 or 5 star to. I didn't have any 3 stars. I only had a 2 star, and that is My Dark Vanessa. And I have read so many good things about this, and there are many YouTubers booktubers that I watch that loves this book that I have complete, utter faith in. And I did not like this book at all. No. I mean, it's already trigger warnings because it is about a student and the relationship that she has with the teacher, and then there's 2 timelines, and then the second timeline is her much older. I think she's in her 30s. She is, trying to live what a normal life could be, I guess, for someone who's gone through what she's gone through. I really did not like Vanessa at all. I just couldn't. There was a lot of characteristics with this character. It really irked me a lot. And I really can't discuss it because it's really spoilery, but she really got under my skin and annoyed the crap out of me. And I was supposed to be very, moved by her story and the fact that she was she's able to do the best she can and all this other stuff and all the crap that she was going through, and I didn't have any of those feelings whatsoever, not even a little. Well, I feel like to enjoy this book you have had to have some kind of almost protectiveness over this character, and I had none, not even a little. It was not a good time for me. It took me a while to get through this book because I was like, okay, I know people say when you should DNF a book when you're not enjoying yourself because there are so many books out there. It wasn't until about halfway through that I decided that I just couldn't stand this book. And I'm already halfway through it, and it just feels like a big waste of time. And that even annoys me more than getting through a bad book. It annoys me so much that I've wasted time and effort on a book that I'm not going to finish. So, I finished it. But it is what it is. So I gave this 2 stars. So there's that. It's a very unpopular opinion, but it's mine. So another book that my husband has made me decide that he finished it and then read it right after he finished it again, and then told me, you're going to read this. So I don't know if I really had a choice in the matter, but I'm glad that he forced me to read it. It's called Between Two Fires. This is obviously a medieval kind of a type of a story, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of medieval times in there. It's good stuff. There are 3 main characters in this book. There is a little girl. I guess you would call him a knight and a priest. I loved these characters so much. Loved them. It's pretty much them just trying to get through the Black Plague or the Black Death. The little girl wants to go to a certain place, and there are little mysterious vibes about her, so they are pretty much protecting her so she can get where she needs to go to take care of whatever she needs to take care of. It's got horror in it. There's very, very creepy things that happen in this book, and trust me, you're going to want to read it. Like, I even thought that, I was just like, we'll see. But I am so glad I read this. I gave this book 5 stars. There was nothing I would change about this book whatsoever. As long as you connect with the character, there is no way that you cannot not like this book. So, I highly suggest reading this book. Whether you're a horror fan, whether you're a fantasy fan, whether you're a history buff fan, read this book. It's great stuff. So another book that I read was for a book club pick for 2 book clubs that I put myself a part of, and that would be Ruth Ware's The It Girl, and I gave this book 4 stars. I think I'm considered the unpopular opinion about this. A lot of people who I've watched talk about this book on booktube, and a lot of the people that I've read on the on Goodreads, it's getting really mixed reviews, and I am on the part of really liking it. I don't love it by any means, but I do like it a lot. I think a lot of people went into this book thinking that it's going to be dark academic. There is a school involved. It's a private, school that people go to, and that's there. That college, it's a thing in here. Okay, a group of friends happens. It's there, but it's not dark, okay? Even though there is a murderer. And then, so there's that timeline of these 2 friends who are roommates and these 2 girls who become roommates and then obviously become friends. And then one of them is labeled the It Girl, like she is the girl that everyone wants to be around, who is rich and popular and, bubbly and happy and ready to go and party girl kind of thing, and then her roommate is the exact opposite, but, opposites attract, and so they become good friends. And it's them in college together, and then the other timeline is the opposite person, the non-it girl, is all grown up and is married and is pregnant, and her best friend from college is dead. The main character's name, the girl, the non-it girl, is Hannah, and then the it girl is April. Hannah is dead set on a certain guy who had done it. Like, she is like, that's the guy, that's him, I saw him, he was there, he's the murderer. And so she pointed him out, and because of her accusations, in the end he was found guilty and sentenced to life to prison, and he dies, I think, of a heart attack. He dies in prison. He dies of cancer or a heart attack or something, and so she gets news that he dies at a much older age for her, like she's all grown up. I'm not really sure why she does this, but she has this feeling like it wasn't him all of a sudden. And so she's like, oh, I hope that was him, because otherwise him dying in prison, that sucks. And so she's trying to figure it out to make sure. People who do enjoy this book seem to enjoy the college timeline, and I actually really enjoyed her being all grown up and pregnant timeline. I don't know why. I enjoyed it more. The book was fun. It was a fun read. It is pretty, it's a thriller, and it's a pretty chunky book. I think it's over 400 pages. It's a chunker. And so I feel like there's a lot of parts that probably didn't need to be in the book. But I gave this, and that's why I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars and not 5-star. There are other Ruth Wares that I have read that are better than this. I mean, there's only one murder, and it's kind of more of a detective thing more than a thriller. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. And the little twists and turns that happen in this book, I mean, they're easily figured out when things start really rolling in the story. But I was okay with that, because the way that the main character was dealing with everything, the way that you were told the story, it was an entertaining ride. So then I was kind of still on the whole, like, thriller ride vibe, and so I went ahead and picked up one of my book of the month picks, and that would be The Collective. This is Allison Galen, and the author Allison Galen, and this is about a mother who lost her daughter. Someone killed her, and she knows who it was, and nothing happened. He got away scot-free. And so she is pissed. She can't let it go. It's like 3 or 4 years down the road, and she's still like, all that anger is still all inside her, and she is just fed up. And she wants justice. She wants it real bad. It comes to find out she like has like a pretty much almost like a mental breakdown in public, and she's handed a card, and it takes her to like the dark web area, and she finds this group called The Collective. They make sure justice is taken care of. It's a very secret society kind of a situation, full of mothers who all lost their babies, not babies, but their babies. And so that's what this book is about, is this mother finding a way to get justice in all kinds of situations. And it is very, very good. And the ending was not at all what I expected. I enjoyed it. That's all I can tell you. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and it was staying as a 4 the entire time until that ending, and then it became a 5-star immediately right after that. So a book I picked up in August was a historical fiction, and it kind of got me all like, ooh, I want to get back into historical fiction books again, and I've got plenty to choose from, so let's go for it again. Picked up one of the biggest historical fiction books I could find, I guess, and I picked up The Book Thief, and I read this, and it is like more. Historical fiction tends to go with, or at least the ones I'm picking up, goes with World War II a lot. The story is told by Death himself, like he is telling you a story of something that he has witnessed and has watched progress. It obviously is extremely sad and heartbreaking, and the ending will take your guts out and rip them to parts and pieces all over the ground, because the ending is just like heartbreaking. So I gave this book a 4 stars. I didn't give it a full 5, and the reason why is because really this book, okay, it is told by Death, but it is about a family, a mother, father, and their adoptive daughter. It's kind of almost like a slice of life during war times. That's what it's like. There are sometimes sprinkled in a little danger here and there. There's highs and there's lows, and it's a slice of life during war. That's all I can tell you. And sometimes I was bored. And like I said, it's told by Death, like telling you a story. And his way of telling stories, like he gives you like little spoiler alerts and like warnings, and like he like ruins his own story by telling you the ending first and stuff like that. Like that, I don't know why, but that part, like him, the way he told the story was something new and different to me, and I enjoyed that part a great deal. So, and like I said, the ending will crush your soul. So just be ready for that. But I wholly recommend it. It'll crush your soul, but it's totally fine. So I started a new series because, I have a bunch of them that I start and never finished. But this one was highly recommended by somebody that I trust in the aspect of their taste in books. My God, I should have picked up these books a long time ago. Let me just say that right now. The ones I've read so far is The Kiss of Deception and The Heart of Betrayal, and then there's one more, Beauty of Darkness, and I am waiting impatiently for the audiobook version of that to be available through my library. I'm on hold. So I've been on hold for a while, and I'm really annoyed by it because as soon as I finished this one, I immediately was able to get this one on audio and continue to listen to it right off the bat. This was great. This is fantastic. It's got, obviously it's a little bit of it's a fantasy book, but it's YA, and it is about a princess who is being forced to marry a prince, and she doesn't wanna. She doesn't even know the guy. She's never met him. She doesn't know what he looks like. She wants out. So she runs away. Obviously, consequences, and a assassin is sent after her, and the prince is so annoyed at the fact that she did it and he didn't, that she had the gall to do that, and he couldn't get brave enough to do it himself because he was also in that frame of mind of, I'm forced to marry someone I don't want to even marry. And it's kind of a little love triangle is involved, and it is great. Leah, the main character, the princess, she is exactly the type of female MC that I want every woman, girl out there to read, because she is fantastic. She is great. And I hope that one day my daughter does read these books, or wants to read these books, because just by the MC's, just her alone makes these books fantastic. The stories are great too, but she's great, and I can't wait to finish this series. It's only 3 books, so I mean, and the reason I like the audiobooks is because it's full cast, so there's 3 perspectives that you're getting it from. You're getting from the princess, the assassin, and the prince, and all 3 have their own voices, and so it makes it fun to listen to, I feel like. And so I want to continue the audio version of it. Even though I have the 3rd book, I'm enjoying the audio so much that I don't want to pick up the book until I can listen to it. I gave this one a 5 stars because it was a fantastic start. I gave this one 4 stars, and the only reason I didn't give it 5 is because story is told in a certain location and it stays in that entire location, the entire book from start to finish. And this is more of, there's more involved location-wise, traveling-wise. And so there's only so much that can happen in one location, right? So I knocked it down a star for that, but it's still very good. And the characters in both books are fantastic. It's a great, great story. And I can't wait until my daughter is old enough to read this, because I am totally going to give it to her. Because like I said, the princess in this book, 5 stars all by herself. So the month was almost up, and so I went ahead and wanted to pick up another fast read, and so I picked up something really small that I owned, and it's called Falling by T.J. Newman. It is about, as you can see, it is about a plane that is not destined, but has the chance of crashing. So it's about a pilot and his family, and so in the very beginning of it, he is leaving to take this plane to another location. He's the pilot. Anyway, he's saying goodbye to his family. He's about to go, and he gets on his plane, and then immediately after he leaves the house, his family is taken hostage, and he gets word from this person who's taking his whole family hostage that either your family dies or you crash that plane and you kill everybody in it. Now hop to it and figure things out. It is a ride, man. This is, and I'm glad it's small, because that's a very a pull you in kind of a hook, right? But at the same time, how far really can you go with that? And so I feel like this author made it the perfect amount of a story. If it had gone any longer, it would have been considered boring, and if it was any shorter, then the thrill would have been over too soon. I feel like he did a perfect job in the pacing of this book. It's great. And I gave this book 4 stars. There is a perspective from an FBI agent that I was just like, I don't really care about this. But other than that, everything else about this book was great. But it's great, and it needs to be a movie ASAP. I mean, it's pretty much written for you, because it's not that big. So just make it a movie. Jeez. And the last one I read, I told my husband, I was like, so I'm listening to Falling. I need something to read, but I don't need something that is going to take very long because I only have like a week to read it. So before the month is over. So why don't you go to my book of the month picks and just pick one. So he actually picked 3 of my books this month to read. And he did a fantastic job at picking all of them because he picked the Sundown Motel by St. James, and this was great. I gave this book a 4-star read, and I enjoyed this. And let me tell you right now, okay, there's 2 timelines in this book. It is a woman who is pretty much like a runaway, and she's running this hotel, and then and then she goes missing, and then years down the road, it is her niece, because her sister obviously went on with their life and had a daughter, and this girl's, you're seeing it from the daughter's perspective as well, or niece's perspective as well. That's the second timeline. And her mom just passed away, and she just feels like her aunt's disappearance, the questions that were not answered, all of that needs to be taken care of, and it needs to be happening now. So that's what she does. She just uproots her life, and she goes to the same tiny little town that her aunt went to. She even takes the same exact job that her aunt, because her aunt was like the clerk, the check-in clerk person that was at this hotel. It is a haunted hotel. They're not even really sure why there is a overnight clerk position opened. In both timelines, they both take that. They're both overnight clerks, and creepy stuff happens all the time during their working shifts. I would have been gone after that first. I don't care if I'm a runaway or not. I would be out of there. The things that happened to her. There's no way in hell I would have stuck around. But she does. And then Carly is the niece, and I understand why she sticks around, because she still wants her questions answered. She wants to solve what happened to her aunt. She's bound and determined to make that happen, and so to do that, she feels like she has to take the same exact position that her aunt does. So let me just say, there is ghostly stuff that happens. There is spooky stuff that happens. There's a detective trying to figure out the case kind of situation. Twists and turns all over the place. Meanwhile, in the background, the horrific, haunting stuff is still happening. I mean, you can't go wrong, okay? So if any of that sounded good, then read this book. Anyway, it was great. I gave it 4 stars. It was good stuff. So my husband apparently knows how to pick them. Whether he's not read this book, but whether he reads them or not, the other 2 he did. He did a good job picking out these books. He made me read certain books, and they were successful. So who knew? Listening to your husband actually helps you now and then. Anyway, that was my pile. That was my big old stockaroo. So I hope you enjoyed coming back to me and listening to what I read this past month, and I can't wait to talk to you later. And if you like me and you keep coming to me but you're not subscribed, I don't know why not, so just go ahead and push that button now. Hit that little subscribe button and give me a little like if you liked any of these books. Let me know what you read in the month of September, or what you plan on reading in October. Maybe I'll pick that book up, because like I said, I don't really have any plans on what I'm going to read in October. So there's that. So thank you. Bye-bye.